Okay, so what'd you think of Chapter 1 last time? It's exciting, right? Yeah. It's been really interesting. I read these books. I did the audiobooks for them, and so I've read these stories many times actually, and it's neat though. I haven't read them in many years to come back and kind of revisit, and so, well, shall we continue? Okay, alright. Jeremysrun, Book 1, Ladark, 2nd edition, Chapter 2. Sunday, 11:14 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Of the others, Jeremy could make out nothing at all. Even more ominous, he could discern now he could discern not the faintest hint of the open balcony door, as if the world beyond had vanished. Beyond the courtyard, chaos ensued. Screeching tires, the crunch of plastic, scattered shouts, a scream. Someone yelled obscenities. Another responded in kind. Sarah whimpered where she sat at the table. "Sarah, you okay?" Kate asked. Jeremy's voice came from her vicinity. "She's claustrophobic. It's okay, babe, I'm right here." Kate asked if anyone had a flashlight. "On my dead phone," Karina replied. "Everybody be cool," Jeremy said. "I've got flashlights and headlamps in the closet." Assuming they work. From where Matt sat on the sectional, a bright red beam winked on, casting an intense red spot on the ceiling. Unlike a flashlight, it failed to illuminate the room. They might. This thing still works. I wonder why. "It's not plugged in," Karina replied. "Neither was your phone." "Geez," Jeremy said. "Listen to that. It's bumper cars out on Lincoln." Karina thought they ought to take a look. Gooch emitted a low rumble from the balcony door. Matt told them to try their phones again. Can anybody get theirs to work? None could. Karina found a Bic lighter and flicked it on. Though feeble, it provided much more effective light than the laser pointer. Jeremy asked if he could borrow it. "No problem, sugar. I wonder how long the power will be off." Cade found his way over to Gooch, and the two of them stepped out onto the east-facing balcony. "Whoa," Cade said. "You guys should see this." Jeremy postponed retrieving the headlamps, held up the lighter, and he, Sarah, Karina, and Matt joined Cade and Gooch. Jeremy spoke for the group. "Holy crap, the whole city must be out." Aside from a few dark patches where low clouds blocked the view, the bit of sky visible from the small courtyard blazed with stars. The angled fifth-floor penthouse towers directly opposite cut dark geometric patterns against the glittering background. "You guys ever seen anything like this?" Jeremy asked. "No," Kate replied, "and especially not in the city." Karina said she needed a little Mary Jane. She took the lighter and returned to the apartment. When she returned, she leaned into Matt, who put his arm around her. She lit the joint, drew a lungful of smoke, held her breath, then released it slowly with a small cough. "This is totally trippy." Someone from another balcony laughed. "Doke it up, sister." More laughter. "They're scared," Sarah said. "They're laughing," Matt replied. "Because they're scared." Jeremy glanced at the surreal sky. "I think Sarah's right. You said we were in deep shit. What did you mean by that?" Matt did not answer immediately. The night grew strangely still. The collision ceased. No sound of vehicles at all, no sirens, a couple of random dogs in the distance, as if the city held its breath, waiting for the fate's next shoe to drop. Soft chatter and occasional muted laughter drifted their way from the other balconies. Matt asked Sarah what she'd been reading just prior to the blackout. "EMP," Sarah replied. Magnetic pulse, Matt said in unison with her. You know about it? She asked. He's a geek, Karina replied. He knows everything. At least that kind of stuff. That's true. That true? Cade said. You know what this is about? Some, Matt replied. But at this point, Sarah probably knows more than I do. I'm trying to remember what I read about it. That was weird, that pop we heard, Jeremy said. You know, just before the music died. It sounded like something, shorted out. If this is an EMP deal, Matt replied, that's exactly what happened. Everything's fried. So that's why our phones don't work? Cade asked. Yep, internal shorts in the chipsets. Karina released another cloud of smoke. This is good shit. I need a drink. Let's hold off on that for a bit, Jeremy replied. I'm sorry, did my mother just join us? Worse, he said. She snorted. I'm getting a drink. Car, Jeremy said. Just cool it, okay? We can get a drink later. Right now. Who do you think you... Right now we need to figure out what's going on and what we're going to do about it. We know what's going on. We don't know shit, Jeremy said. I've got a bad feeling about this. Well, I've got a good one, Karina replied. Besides, we do know what's going on. The power went out. Might as well make the best of it. Party time. Jeremy emitted an exasperated sigh. No offense, Carr, but you've got no idea what's going on. None of us do. Maybe Sarah knows something if we'd shut up and give her 5 seconds to tell us. Wow, Karina said. Who died in... He's right, Cade said. Sarah, what were you going to say about this? You were reading about it? You people are something else, Karina said. Jeremy ignored her and turned to Sarah. What do you think, hon? They were talking about an EMP. A warhead exploded over the Middle East. Amman was out. They were having an emergency meeting in Washington. They said something about Mount Weather. You mentioned that before, Cade said. Something about a convoy headed to the Mount Weather facility. They called it an emergency operations center. Matt emitted a low whistle. You sure about that, Sarah? That's what I read. What does that mean, bro? Jeremy asked. It means, Matt replied, the proverbial shit must have seriously, and I mean seriously, hit the high-speed fan. That's where the government goes when the aliens show up and vaporize the White House, or Russia launches her nukes. Okay, Jeremy said. We're still here, so let's keep it real. Worst case? Worst case is, this might be it. I mean, seriously, this could be it. Jeremy released an exasperated sigh. It as in what? It as in thermonuclear war, as in sayonara, baby. See you in the next life. But we're still here. Matt nodded slowly. That's right. We're still here. Which is why I wonder if this isn't something worse. Worse than a nuclear war, Jeremy said. Uh-huh. And that would be what, exactly? Jeremy asked. A slow death over the course of weeks or months, filled with a terror, savagery, disease, and starvation, Matt replied. Okay, Jeremy said. I'll give you that. Matt drew a deep breath and sniffed the air. I mean, this just feels wrong for anything other than an EMP or maybe a CME. He looked about. No, not a CME. This is textbook EMP. Sarah asked if by CME he was referring to coronal mass ejection. You know about CMEs? Matt asked, clearly surprised. There is nothing Brainchild here hasn't read about, Karina replied and giggled. Matt ignored her. A CME is a major solar flare that could take down the grid. So, how do you know this isn't that? Karina asked. Because a CME wouldn't kill our phones. It wouldn't kill the electronics. And if you recall, the electronics died first, then the grid went down more than 1 minute later. Yeah, Jeremy said, that was weird. Why was that? Because, Matt replied, an EMP isn't just one pulse, it's three. The first one, if it's strong enough, zaps the electronics. That was the pop when the music stopped. The second is like a lightning surge. It kills whatever's left in any electronics connected to the grid. The third is like a solar flare, in that it gets picked up in the long-haul transmission lines and takes down the grid itself. It fries the substations. I forget the reason for the delay, but I read about it a couple of years ago. What is that weather facility? Kate asked. And how do you happen to know about it? Mount Weather, Matt replied. Somewhere in Virginia, I think. I only know about it because I work for a defense contractor. We make everything from micro to mid-sized drones. I help design the electronics. The DoD runs like regular war game situations. We participate along with a few hundred other contractors. That must be pretty interesting. It is. As a DoD contractor, you can arrange to get your system inserted into the war game and see how it does. We were always testing our UAVs. You get design and performance feedback on vulnerabilities, lethality, attrition stats, and so on. Okay, and Mount Weather? Mount Weather is a secure underground... Whoa. Look out. The stars dimmed, and the angled north faces of the fifth-floor towers opposite filled the courtyard with reflected white light. Someone nearby emitted a startled yelp. Shouts went up throughout the complex and in the streets beyond. They all winced and threw their hands up to protect their faces. Karina dropped her joint, cursed, and retrieved it. Matt began to count to himself, almost inaudible. 1001, 1002. They squinted from the glare, everything in vivid color. The tall palms stretching above the roofline radiated bright green, as if caught in some distant arc lamp, beaming across the LA rooftops. The light continued for 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Jeremy ordered everyone inside. Matt said it was too late for that. If it was going to nail us, we'd be vaporized already. At 4 seconds, the glare began to diminish. Jeremy threw him a sharp glance. Are you willing to bet our lives on that? 6 seconds after it began, the glare mostly vanished, but the angled towers still pulsed dull orange as if lit by distant fires. Yeah, that was a long way from here. Don't interrupt me. Matt continued his counting. What was a long way from here? Karina asked. The balcony jumped beneath their feet. A mild bump, accompanied by a low crump. The glow faded, but did not entirely vanish. Sarah shivered and hugged Jeremy. Karina released a cloud of smoke. This is epic. We even have an earthquake. Jeremy didn't think it was an earthquake. What is it then? More like God stomped his foot. You don't even believe in God. It wasn't an earthquake, Matt said. That was a compression wave. He sounded distracted, still counting softly. 105, 106, wait for it. 108. Wait for what? Karina said. I mean, what the Quiet. Watch. 112, 113, 114. Look. Look at the clouds. Chapter 2. Pretty intense, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, your grandpa's really good at writing this kind of fiction. He's a great storyteller. And, yeah. You want another chapter? How long is chapter 3? Let me check real quick. Nah, it's too long. It'll be like another... Yeah, chapter 3 is actually a lot longer. That'll be like tomorrow night will be a lot longer read. But you're enjoying it. Good. Yeah, well. I'll tell you in the event that, there's like a real nuclear strike. Man, like, it would be bad news bears, dude. We just hope it never happens. But in the meantime, it is time to get you to bed. So, sleep tight. I look forward to continuing our journey back into Los Angeles and our brave group of friends, Jeremy, Cade, Sarah, Karina, and Matt, and their trusty dog Gooch. It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense. But I hope you have sweet dreams, okay? Alright. Alright, you got your water?